To tonight's meeting in our home, but a slightly different room, and we found it. We have no formal agenda set for tonight that I'm aware of. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I don't know if there's anything outstanding from the last meeting, other than what we're talking about before we started, which was some details relating to the barbecue and the race weekend and the band and otherwise. So that's what I got. So do you want to update, Susan or Linda? You were talking to Susan.
Okay, we're having a barbecue for everybody Saturday once the racing is complete, and we also have live entertainment coming, compliments of Colin Schultz Enterprises, and they'll be good. And we have the use of the Eurasia building. Is that the right name? The Track Junkies building?
Yeah. I have no idea who really owns that building.
Okay, Paul Conquest has offered us the use of his building,
Okay.
so.
Is that the tent?
No, the building.
The tent's gone.
Tent's gone?
Yeah, they took the Argyle tent down. No, it's winter.
But it was up for the 3 years, wasn't it?
Whomever
No,
owns,
actually they moved it last year, so maybe it went down over the winter.
whomever owns it apparently took it away.
Yeah.
Argyle Motorsport.
Yeah. So, the band would prefer to play inside, so that will do. We just have to make, Sue needs to leave by a certain time, so if we're gonna be later than that, we have to promise to clean up inside. No problem.
Oh, man, that's not an issue.
Yeah.
I asked to be put on the agenda.
Yep.
So if you want me to go now, that way I might actually make time before midnight.
Can you give us one more second
Sure.
first? So, obviously the barbecue is because of our 60th anniversary. Linda and some other people have been working for the race itself. So, that's all going well. There's no issues with setting up entries or anything like that.
So far, we have 43 entries and 23 entries into the GT race on Sunday, otherwise known as the money race.
That's good. And then we're supposed to make sure we have checks for the GT race. So,
Yes, that's been taken care of.
okay, good. All right, is there anything else on this upcoming weekend in particular that's pressing that anybody wants to mention?
There is a plaque for Mr. Del Perro. It's supposed to be printed. I haven't heard any or seen any artwork proof back. Do you know if Nelson's communicated anything about getting the stuff?
Not to.
I'll phone them tomorrow morning. Because at the barbecue, we were going to honor Mario for his success in racing since 1962. Yeah, just a day or two. But unfortunately, Fred hasn't entered yet, which would give us 6 vintage entries. But I guess there's a problem with the shop, so I'm going to give him a call tomorrow. Make sure,
Okay.
no point doing a presentation to Mario if he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Vintage entry, is that Fred or the car?
Well, Fred's not vintage yet. Cars,
What age do you consider vintage?
anything over 25.
Oh, no, I meant
that's
Fred.
classic. That's classic. It's got to be over 40 for vintage.
Yeah, historics. Historics.
Okay, well, so you're gonna follow up on there, and,
I have some like things, but I'll add afterwards. They're like for next meeting kind of an idea.
okay,
Just some community discussion I had online. So
all right, we'll do that after Tom has said what he has come to say.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I know Graham and Dave and John know me. Anybody who doesn't, I'm Tom Peters. I used to be a club member a long time ago. I am now the executive director of the Drayton Valley Hospitality and Tourism Authority. And my job is to boost tourism. So one thing I've been discussing with my board is car culture. So what I'd like to put forward to the club tonight is I'd like to look at bringing the ice race series to the Drayton Valley Brazeau County area. Now, in order to do that, we need to locate a place. And of course, nobody wants to do something that's going to be farther away if there isn't an incentive. So I've been discussing with my board depending on what kind of arrangement we can make, what kind of dates, putting between $5,000 and $10,000 on the table.
That would be incentive.
That would probably be incentive, it probably covers the insurance for 5 events. So we're quite serious about it. I have not got a location. I've been on the job a grand total of 6 weeks. I'm still having trouble finding my house. But we have passed the stage 1 tourism plan. We're looking at this as part of it. Now, from that point of view, we'd have to find a location. We'd have to come to an arrangement on things like race dates and your expectations and our expectations as far as titling and things like that. But I'm being very serious, between 5 and 10. If we can come to the right kind of arrangement on the right kind of dates, I may be able to bring another partner in that would be able to add to it. So from the club, I'd like you guys to discuss it. My next board meeting is mid-October. I'd like to be able to inform them of where we're headed on this, because tourism unfortunately likes to have about 3 months to get its act together, to get the marketing in place, to get site in place. If I need cooperation from the county, what I can expect from them, what I can expect from the town. So from my side, it's a big chore. From the club side, it's a case of, you're going to be running races anyway, find a location or help me find a location, and that's what we've got on the table at this point. Now, long term, we're looking at other stuff. 2 or 3 years, I'd like to bring a Targa Newfoundland style of event into the Drayton Brazeau area. We're also going to be bringing in, I don't know if it'll be this year, but next year, snowmobile oval track, snowmobile drags. There's an oval track in the town that we'll be working with to build it up. We're looking at adding Model T racing to some of the heritage events. So Drayton has got a tremendous amount of tourism potential that's never been exploited. And in 6 weeks, I've managed to get more done than my 2 predecessors did over a couple of years. And we're well on our way to building this. And that's why the ice racing thing comes at this time. Most people take a tremendous amount of time to put something like this together. Those of you who know me, I brought the Tommy Fox Classic here in '96. You did fire and ice. You know what kind of work I do. You know what I'm capable of. So that's pretty much where we're at. So, any questions? Yep.
I was gonna ask, so like there's a very technical aspect for like track design, like based on the geography. So I would recommend, if you can get multiple options of locations that you think might work.
Well, I'd be looking for your help on that as well, because as I was telling John today, I've been burning the candle since 7:30 this morning, because I'm building a tourism system from scratch. So I haven't even made it to Brazeau Dam yet, and I'm living here. So if you guys have suggestions, ideas, want to take a look, bring something to me. Meantime, I'll see what is capable. I know you guys have got the environmental side handled. I'm real familiar with the NASCC, but it's a matter of trying to get the pieces to come together in a coordinated fashion early enough to make it work.
Okay, yeah, because I like noticed last year we might have to sit down and like write down like procedure for how we're picking the tracks, because we're having these like huge warm spells. So it's starting to be like we have to actually probably plan for having a primary track location and then a backup one. But it all depends on like water depth and and these kind of things. So
familiar with that. From our standpoint, I'm also in the process of orchestrating a winter event for the town and the county. So I'm looking at this going, something that ends around the end of February works best for me, but that's up for negotiation. I know you guys normally do 5 events. I'm fine with that. If 2 of them are 2-day weekends, I'm even finer with that. And preferably, a lake location needs to be within half an hour plus or minus of Drayton for the tourism authority to get
the benefit.
Get the benefit from it. But it's a reasonable amount of cash, and we do have the ability to bring in a couple other partners if we can make things come together right.
yeah, also too, because like some of the community stuff we've been talking about, like the whole having this barbecue, try to get that we're doing for our next event, and live music. We might be interested in also like hosting maybe an after event thing in Drayton in some sort of like.
Well, we'd be looking
event
at
hall.
that, and there'd be support for that. Again, we've got multiple partners. Part of my job right now is doing what my predecessors did, and that's build the links into the community. So I'm going to be one of those unfortunate people who's heavily involved in public engagement, which means I'm joining every frickin' association in Drayton Valley, because it has the smaller town flavor, that if you want to know what's going on, you have to be inside, not outside. So,
By the way, you are being taped and video.
that's okay. As John knows, I have hatred of hockey. I don't like hockey. I'm joining the minor hockey association.
It's 3-1 for the Oilers.
Yeah.
There's a hockey game?
So it's my job to get to know the community. The only way to get to know the community is to get inside of it. For instance, I'm a member of the Rotary Club, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I've only been there 6 weeks. I joined the car club tomorrow night, and all those pieces go together. Drayton has a history of auto racing. Thunder and Valley ran for a
Yeah.
decade. I'd like to see that come back.
For sure.
So this is all pieces of a puzzle that I'm pushing together.
So I guess from this side here, the first part is where it's gonna be held, so I don't know if you don't have any ideas at this point.
I don't have a lot of great ideas. There's a lake northwest, about 20 minutes out. I can't remember the name of it to save my life. I forgot to write it down this morning. But it's a fairly large size lake. The cold stays a little longer in Drayton, which is probably helpful. But there are other sites beyond that. I just haven't had the time to delve into it while I'm doing everything else.
So, I'm not, I guess at this point, the best suggestion is for people within the club, if they have any ideas, if they wanna go search on Google Maps or whatever to find it, and then we can work, you can work, and then when you come back to us in a little bit with more information, there's prospective sites to go, so there's actually the next step, because without a place to race, all this kind of doesn't matter at that point. So, from your side, if anybody in the town, the locals, as you get to meet people
I've been
around
asking.
them, yeah. So, I think that, to me, that's the logical next step. and,
Okay. Well, I think it could be a good partnership. It's just a matter of seeing if we can get the pieces to go together.
Mhm.
You met Arvid, or do you know Arvid?
Arvid.
Onstad?
Doesn't ring a bell.
You better meet Arvid Onstad.
His name hasn't even come up anywhere in the valley so far.
Well, maybe you moved, maybe you retired. But he used to be, and he ran at Castro a lot. He used to hold, even a couple of years ago, he used to hold a big barbecue for the late model guys.
The track was closed for a decade, just reopened this year. And I've been involved with the car club out there. The name hasn't come up, but there's a car club meeting tomorrow night.
He
so-
doesn't live in town, I can't remember,
Probably
it's been
lives
so
in
long
Wisconsin.
since I was out to his place. I can't even remember where. Is he at Tomahawk? I think it's closer to Tomahawk where he lives, but
It's not far from where I am.
anyway, he's a serious racer and promoter, and
Do you know Sean Harding?
Name rings a bell. Vaguely.
He's out by Tomahawk too.
Yeah, like I said, I'm halfway between Highway 22 and Highway 759, so it's 10 minutes to
Okay.
Tomahawk. That's where I gas up when I'm coming to Edmonton, because it's cheaper.
find out if Onstad's around there, ask,
I will.
because he's definitely worth talking to.
Okay. But like I said, I'm at the Northern Thunder Car Club meeting tomorrow night, so I will be. It was actually quite a big car culture event.
We traditionally used to have Lacabiche the first weekend of March, and last year it got moved to the last weekend of February, because that seems to work better for them now. So it would be better for us to go before that,
Okay.
just to let you know of any date.
Well, like I said, you guys have a discussion on it. You know what's on the table.
Mhm.
It's something I'd like to do. I think it's a solid partnership. Got more or less a month or so to see how far we can come to doing an agreement, that I can go back to the board and say, I need X, Y. And at that point, if we have enough together and it's looking beneficial enough, I can see about bringing another partner in.
Okay, well,
Okay?
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Want to come up and join us now, Sean?
No, I'm good here. You need me, I'm here.
You got checks.
I brought checks, yes.
No, I mean for the race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. That's a good question.
No, because Mark signed a whole bunch of them last meeting.
So,
Yeah, he did. Just don't lose him.
okay. I'll try my best.
That's not a roll.
Retroactively, not lethal.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes, sir. I'm losing on these.
Yeah. I'm mortgage free. Thank Christ.
Yeah.
All the friggin' time. And a big shop.
so, this is also coming up to our last race weekend of the summer season. We have to think also about the NASCC AGM, which should be coming up as well. In October it should be,
Yeah, early November.
early after the WCMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes, to get the books gone, I need time.
Okay.
To get the bank statements in, get it all, once, all up to date, but get the last bank statement in.
So we'll have to,
You know, pick a date for that, is that what you're asking?
yeah, we should, because we should give proper notice of the actual
So,
AGM.
what are the dates?
I don't know yet. I gotta look.
I'm terrible at picking dates,
First,
but
15th.
Oh, the first and the 15th is the first and the third, so,
how about well, 15th is the first weekend after November 11th.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. I have to blow. I got
Yep.
150 kilometers ahead.
thank
Drive
you.
safe.
I hope you have your winter tires on.
Nope. I don't run on winters.
I like to be brave.
So it's either the first or 15th. To me, the first of the month makes sense, because that's kind of more the business side.
Sure.
So, anybody,
Let me look at it. If we can get it prepared by then, yes, tentatively. If not, I'll change it.
okay, yeah, if there's any problem with, because
Yeah.
you've got the paperwork to worry about, if that's gonna be
So
difficult.
our
for
year
you.
end is, 1st of October? That's tight. 15th better.
Well, okay, let's set it now, we'll just, the 15th, and then
Yeah.
it's done.
Just to get all the stuff in, get it all done up and get it in a
Okay.
coherent package is just a bit tight.
Right. Okay, so that's for the NASCC AGM. Everybody here is hopefully aware of the WCMA AGM, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have people attending.
Have we
that.
received an agenda for the WCMA AGM at all?
I haven't received one yet, but
No,
I will ask.
You won't, I'm just kidding.
There's a tentative agenda been posted.
Really?
On the WCMA website?
Well, when Sue sent out the notice, there was a bit of a, it wasn't a detailed agenda, but there was that notice that Sue
Yeah.
sent out. There
you'll
was-
get the general one that says, everybody gets together here, but not the breakout agendas.
I don't know if there has been a breakout agenda specific.
Usually the, I know from the race official side, Sue will usually send out on my behalf a request for agenda items for that, but I don't know about the other directors.
So there's both Mark and I, well, I'll be here. I'll be there.
Oh, you are gonna be here, because you
Yes,
said you
yes,
were
it changed, my dates were screwed up, and I'm supposed to be in Newfoundland the 15th of December, not the 15th of October, as it turns out.
Good,
So if you
so you can go to the meeting,
I can go argue with people, yes.
yes. The message from Sue said she wants agenda items by October the 10th.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So if you have anything you want on the workshop, send it in.
Okay.
So that's NASCC's AGM and WCMA is referred to.
Are there any proposed rule changes anybody's aware of that we need to address?
From what I heard, nothing major. Just from it just there's some tweaking with I think with regards to they want to talk about like something to do with having practice sessions versus combined practice sessions versus like they want to make it simpler, so there's like only one thing, but I don't know the details. I just know that that's some of the thing.
Yeah, that isn't a WCMA thing, that would be, they don't normally mandate what you're running or how you're running other than the sessions, but to say we have to run practice and qualifying together like that.
Yeah, I don't think that they're gonna, that what they want, they just wanted to have, I think they're discussing it to see, because I know when I had talked to some of the Spec Miata guys, they were very for one type of thing, and then the other group were some of the historic guys I talked to and stuff, one of the other stuff, but I think no one's ever actually talked about it all at one time, so they're just trying to see what the problems people are having, so I don't know, I'll be at the meeting, right, so I'll be able to see.
Combined practice versus spec piano practice, is that what you're talking about?
It's something, not separating them, but I think it was to do, I heard some stuff like from like a Saturday and a Sunday thing, there's a little bit difference in the way it works on like the Sunday. They were looking at saying maybe making a single practice or something. I don't know the details, but there was some
talk of separate qualifyings for Saturday and Sunday, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's always talk of those sorts of things, right?
yeah, that's what I had heard from some of the people, but like I said, we'll know more soon. But
So there's no big rule changes that we've heard about that we need to address?
Not that I've seen, but normally they're,
Are there any that we should put on our agenda
Good question.
for the WCMA?
if there's changes that you want WCMA to look at,
Yeah.
I don't know from that side, because I don't know, usually they change the rules and everybody gets upset, so the less changes, unless you have to, the better it is. So if there's no,
Because I guess one of the big ones is the temporary licensing capability.
WCMA's been talking about making licensing more accessible, I guess.
yes,
But I don't know if he does that.
Yeah, that's probably for us a big one, because if you miss the main school, you're hooped for the season.
mhm.
Yeah.
Even if you have some race experience or whatever, you know, we've missed some racers this year because they don't have a license and they've sort of wandered away.
But on the other side of that, if you sort of dequalify attending the school, you may end up getting racers who are less qualified and have less students at the school, because if you can get a license without going through all the hoops, you don't.
School is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
but,
I don't see.
But
that
usually
it
only
would
like
be-
10% of the people in the school end up getting a race license anyway.
Yeah, but
Yeah, my intent would be, if it was a temporary, it would be for a one race event, and it would be mandatory you take the school the next year. It wasn't the intent of giving somebody a full license. It's
Mhm.
a case of, we had a guy out of Calgary who had race experience but hasn't had a license for a long time, and he wanted to come to the vintage event, but it just didn't work out because he didn't have it.
Yeah, there have been some talks that I've been like just on the side in terms of like keeping NASCC like our school a primary school, and that if someone doesn't have a license, there's no way that they can race without going to the school. But if they've had a license recently or maybe it expired, that there's a way that they may be possible for them to take some practical stuff, but in the end we still have to offer like a classroom where we sign off on it that they still have to pay for and deal with, but sort of like that you can do this, but we shouldn't be doing it this way, but we can at least accommodate you. But we'll have very like, there's talks of like having limited registration and stuff like that. Like it's not a big thing, and it's just some ideas, because I talked to some guys in Calgary about it. They were like, they still want to do everything through the NASCC though, not like go through a third party thing. So
I mean, if a guy had a license 20 years ago, that doesn't mean he can still drive.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
that's the point, is what, if there's criteria, if somebody says, okay, you didn't have a license for 1 year, yeah, maybe, but why didn't you have a license for a year? Because was it suspended, or did you just not renew it for 20 years? So all those different criteria need to be laid out.
I think one of the
way
big ones
before.
is the chump car guys who have lots of hours of chump car racing, but don't have,
cost it.
it's not recognized by WCMA.
No.
We've got a huge field of jump car drivers that we should figure out a way of getting some of that experience recognized.
How many of those people have directly come forward expressing an interest to get a license and run in? So it's part of this. Are we fixing a problem that doesn't exist and then opening a can of worms for somewhere else? Is it a problem? I know a number of years ago there was trying to have half schools in the mid-season, and my thought anyway is the more you take away from the school, the easier it is for other people to try and duplicate, and then we lose our revenue. But I don't see a problem if somebody has been licensed through the school and there's a reasonable time frame to say, okay, well, you're back in as a novice under observation or something along those lines. But that's not for us to decide, but it is something we can present to WCMA.
But WCMA is working towards that goal.
Yeah. I know they're talking about it.
Yeah, because we discussed too having like a separate logbook just to keep track for like the trump car guys, so that they have hard evidence to provide if we're going to do something down the road with like licensing, that we actually have trackable stuff, because that's the main thing for insurance is they're going to ask us, how do you make sure that what you're doing is structured and they're following the structure, and at least we have some sort of traceability that we can give when we design the system. So
On the other
I don't know, I can't speak to the exact letter of the rules, but I think there are provisions within WCMA to allow racing people to accept licenses from other sanctioning bodies.
yes.
But I don't know what the exact criteria are.
WCMA can accept just about any combination of licensing and previous experience it so desires. They don't recognize, whoever's making the decisions now, basically don't quite appreciate the fact that they can let whoever they want have a license, but you have to have some rational approach to its issue. And so it's certainly a juggling match between previous experience, revenue, impact on the most important club around here, which is NASCC, potential new venue at Carstairs, or is there going to be some sort of licensing opportunity down there that might have a big impact?
Well,
We don't know. That place isn't open yet. But
Our
WCMA has a lot of discretion to issue licenses. Gail would take a look at whomever, and if somebody had 30 years of professional road racing experience and then took a 10-year break, of course you're going to give the guy a license. But an amateur racer who had been out for 20 years and wants back probably should take another school. There's no real hard and fast rule, as long as WCMA license director has enough common sense to accept somebody who would be an asset and not turn them away bureaucratically.
what Dave said.
So that's,
there's something that I'll see if we can write up for like a club position kind of, because I have a lot of ideas already written down on like some documents that we could like all just pass around through the email and see.
yeah. So it would be, it would be a benefit if NASCC was proactive on addressing it, and WCMA is already speaking about it, so kind of put together something for the AGM and say, here's more or less where we stand on this. We want to work with you to create, or to not necessarily create because it already exists, as Dave just said, but to help bring it to the forefront that there is avenues and venues or ways for people to get licensed who may not currently have one, but would be capable of driving a race car on a racetrack.
So I have. Can I talk about social media stuff? Some new stuff that's come up.
Anything else on the WCMA stuff? Nope. Okay.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the social media stuff we've been doing. So we pretty much have our base likes that we can get through advertising. It's the returns are starting to become diminishing, so really pulled back the trying to get people who almost have nothing to do with racing on Facebook into our group stuff. So now I'm just asking, I was doing some checks between some people and seeing who likes the page, because people who like the page get posts and stuff like immediately, like when we have events and stuff, it gets pushed to them first. I'm noticing that a lot of people, like on my friends list at least, who do racing and stuff, don't actually like the page. They go on the page, they interact with it, but they just haven't clicked like. And I've talked to a few people like that, and they've been, oh, I didn't realize I didn't like it, so they've liked it. So I've been sort of doing this campaign of personal stuff. Now, Facebook, if you go on the NACC page, I invite everybody to welcome people on their friends list, send them actual invites. If you go to the page, just click on the bottom, there's a part that says invite friends to like this. Just do it, and you can even put like a personal message on it or whatever you want. But I'm finding that like there's a lot of people that interact with it, that they like sometimes they like the public page, the discussion page, and haven't moved their like to the other page yet. So I'm just saying, like, go through, because I sent about 30 requests out today and had about 15 people add it, saying like, I can't believe I didn't know I didn't like the page. Because they see it so much from their friends, right? But unless you actually physically go and click it, it helps. So I just say, go through and tell your friends to like it, and if you see someone that you know should like it or probably wants to like it but hasn't, just send them an invite. So that's like one of our big pushes here, and we now have our base. So like I said, our ads are very targeted, and they go, the money that we spend on our advertising goes straight to the people that it matters to. And I've expanded my joining of various community clubs to about 50. So now I make all the Nissan, the Mercedes, all the like actual club people. They're not like I said, people that I expect to come racing right away, but the awareness is there. Every time we have an event, we push it through, that kind of stuff. And then as the community aspect grows with it, which is the other big thing I've been talking about with a lot of people, which I'll talk about the meeting stuff after. But the result, when I mentioned that we were looking at having the barbecue and live entertainment, people were like, something to do after the racing. We don't have to leave right away. It's more incentive for people to come for the weekend, right? When there's more stuff to do here, stuff like that. So that's been a positive interaction, and bringing like people to the meeting. So this meeting was right before the last event, so it's going to be a little bit, not expecting it to be super busy, but I'm looking at some ideas where we were talking about having the business meeting and the casual meeting, maybe not live streaming the second, like a casual meeting, and having like a more of an informal one, because there's a piano player that plays on Thursdays, but I can see what about for Wednesday, just having like a just informal discussion here at the bar stuff. I know that we've talked to them in the past, and they've been open to that kind of stuff too. So, but bringing back like the actual social aspect where people they don't want to come here early at like 6 and they can stay late and chat and tell old war stories and stuff like that.
Drink beer.
But there's lots of things to do. But I think the community aspect is really key, and there's a lot of younger people I've talked to at like car meets that are like, they just want to like hang out and do stuff. So I had said like, maybe you can get part of the like, you know, join the club too or whatever, if you're looking at racing stuff. And then the other thing is looking at, I had discussed last meeting about the idea of like mentorship. I'm working on a kind of a little online system where people can pair up with somebody. So if someone wants to race, they actually get mentored with an actual race car guy who wants to take someone on, and they either come out and help them with their car on the side or whatever, or even, you know, be guided the whole way through. It's up to that partnership that they want, but to actually like have people like, I need someone to teach me how to build a cage or how to follow the rule book, and you can actually pair them with somebody who does it already. And maybe, you know, they work their own thing. There's no structure to it, but maybe they come and help out during ice racing, and maybe the other guy come out, help him when he's planning the cage and all this other stuff. Or it's just the mentorship, I think, would be a big thing. And then we'll actually put some sort of stuff on Facebook and talk about it and highlight, like, you know, feature mentors and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that was discussed. And then
That's a cool idea.
It's a very good idea.
It's the other aspect with that is I know for some agenda that I'd like to put, that discussed too briefly, just offhanded, was about for social media aspect of this group, almost have like a deputy kind of like social media manager or like a team, because there's a lot of time is spent getting videos and stuff prepped for next year and going through content, and I want to have people who are interested in racing to come and like be like our Instagram person, like maybe sit down and talk and
What's Instagram?
There's different various things in social media. We have Facebook, which is we are all pretty familiar with, but there's other things like Instagram, which is you share short videos and photos, but it's more of like a personal thing. People like, you might have like a race car team, or you might be your race car driver image on there, and people can follow you, and like you can put your build and stuff like that on there. It's just basically, it's like a personal connection to something. We have an Instagram page for the club now.
Do we?
Yes, but the problem is I don't have much content because it's.
Am I on it?
No, you have to like it or whatever. But the issue is, it's a whole nother platform like Twitter. Like someone that wants to use it needs to be dedicated to it. Like I can't. It's very hard for me to go back and forth between Facebook and Instagram. So it's almost like someone that does Instagram that would be working with us doesn't actually have to go to set up all the videos and things like that. All you do is just show up as in the pits and like talk to people for like an hour or whatever and sign.
Why don't you recruit or try to recruit through social media that we have, like Facebook already, looking for people who are like-minded, who you can mentor and get them going on there, and then we have that. It's to get other people who aren't sitting here involved, and you're right, it's a good idea to have it. Then the best way is use the existing platform, and then you can mentor them on that side, and then we grow that group.
As much as I don't understand it, I think this is what you're saying. What you're saying is the way it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but yes, that's the way it's
I
going.
can echo that same thought.
And
A bunch of like 50+ people have no idea what you're talking about, but if we're going to build a club and going to grow it, that's the way it needs to be grown.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I know the numbers have been showing pretty good results this year. Like there's a bunch of other clubs, like I said, I've worked with that are down on attendance, like quite a bit consistently throughout the year, and they've always been like a strong thing. And their clubs are also tied heavily to the economy because there's a lot of disposable income related to their expenses of the club. But we're actually doing much better than like what the economy should say for us, in terms of like how our club is, the turnout and stuff like that. So we should be hurting like at least of the same rate. We were down at the beginning of the year, but we seem to have come back from it, and we're staying strong. So
It's typical. I wouldn't say strong. I think marginal is a better word than
Yeah, the
strong.
number of entries for this race is marginal.
Yeah.
Mhm. But we're
Just from a financial standpoint.
yeah, we just have to we'll see next year more and learn how to use the data that we've captured this year, because there's one of the other things is I'm working on a year-end membership kind of survey. I have some, when I get the final idea of what the question lists are, I'll give it for the board to go through. But I'd like to have like people actually from everything from people who are volunteering as flaggers and race marshals and things like that, to race car drivers, to people in the pits, people who just, were at the drag racing and wandered over, that kind of stuff, just to see what, what they like, what they didn't like, what they wish happened, have more of like a dialogue, and then we can compile. There's a chance I could probably get it set up fairly soon so that we can discuss it at our AGM, the results of it. But that would be, the survey will come out probably a week after our last event, so a week after like this weekend. But like I said, there's a lot of processing and writing and stuff like that I have to do to get it so that we can get the board to go through everything for it. But there's a bunch of stuff like in limbo, kind of like trying to figure out the best way to implement it. So, and that's pretty much all I have to say from social media side. The only other thing is we have a lot of people asking about tire specs for ice racing. We have a lot of interest with studded cars.
My favorite topic.
So I don't know
We
what.
have to set a date for a stud tire meeting.
We
Yeah.
need to set a committee for tire specs.
Boy.
They can discuss it and then come back to the meeting.
But from what I know, there's not any major change in terms of the studded stuff. I think it worked out well last year with the things. So I don't expect there to be huge changes. Does anyone think that we'd be doing that? So just like guys are trying to get their tires, cars ready, and I went even at Jay's car show that he had. There was probably like a good. I talked to 8 or 9 people who were planning on running studded this year.
Oh, cool.
So
Did you get
people
their names?
I have it written down. I just I don't
Yeah.
want to say too much exactly with that, but like there's a lot of interest in it, but a lot of people are saying so we need to start building tires like right away. So they want like to know what the spec is for that, and then there were some other questions too about the nature of how we have like for rubber racing, what the plan is for like those other classes, how to structure that kind of stuff too, because there's a lot of people that want to run 2 classes and stuff like that now. So there's a lot more discussion for that, but I think we should bring the tire discussion up a lot earlier if possible, and like maybe have to form a committee that we can have go meet on the side. So
Within a month from now, right?
Yeah, it should be, yeah. Well, there was the spec that was decided on last year. There was a whole bunch of stuff that was talked about and actually written. There, Peter Seifert and Ken Staples worked extensively on it, and we basically went with the spec that they chose. And it was fender bolts, so each 30 millimeters in length, I think, with a specified stack of, that's all written in
It was just the extra heavy washers really was the.
no, but it's all written, it's
Yeah.
actually written and designed and in the minutes somewhere, we'll go back and look at it.
Should be in the specs. Should be in the
Yes,
specs
it is,
last
it's
year.
actually printed off and made into print, so that's the spec, that's the limited.
And that's what ran, right?
That's what ran, yes.
like not just from like it seemed to work well. That's what I thought. I didn't hear anyone complain about it, saying there might be some little tweaks for like wire, like tire width, things like that to make the cars more even. But it wasn't like
Oh my God.
the end of the like.
No, it's written, it's written.
The
it's
tire size is there, isn't it?
Yes, 205, I think,
Yeah.
or 185, can't remember.
It's written.
Is there any reason for us to deviate from last year's spec?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
Then why don't we at the next, announce it now, the next meeting, we will be adopting last year's spec?
Yep,
That
and
gives
which was
people
what,
time.
we don't know, but we just got last year's spec.
Yeah,
No changes for this year.
It was, any previously admissible tire plus the newly adopted spec was what last year's spec was. I think we'll get the effort to look it up again.
Okay, yeah.
Comment from Peanut Gallery. The BMW Club officially says, well, we'd like to basically pay NASCC an honorarium of some sort so I can run a driving school on the ice race track on an off day at some point, weather permitting. So I think I mentioned that at the last meeting, we'd be amenable to that, and I'll just repeat that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I have marketing for ice racing already, like pretty much half done for the online thing. I just need to, like I said, get all the rest of the details for it. It's just, like I said, same thing as last year. Like it'd be the same structure. It's just we sold out pretty fast last year, way more than expected. So
got a question. If we move our venue to Drayton Valley, that adds what?
It's a long way.
That's a 45-minute longer haul at least, right? If
More,
not
at least
now.
more.
Might as well
2
say
hours
no.
Drayton Valley, I spent half my life out there, all my 20s out there.
There's not a lot of
2 hours
lakes out
away.
There's not a lot of problems.
And if you're going to go to the Brazos Dam, it's 3 hours away.
Yeah, that's way too far.
That's like
Can't
one,
do Brazo down,
that's
no
like
way.
one special event. That's not, it's not viable to do it.
I missed
All
the
the time.
presentation, so I don't want to speak out of turn.
Well, they're looking to sponsor us for a series or probably this year, I think realistically, maybe an event, a
Mhm.
weekend. I don't think we can get a series going at this point in time with.
No, I think he was more speaking of just either
A
a
one
1 day
date.
or 2 day.
Yeah, so,
To them, a 2 day would be more beneficial because then we spend money on hotels and restaurants.
yeah, so,
You're
So-
going that far, 2 days is sensible.
yeah, it's
Like
gotta,
that
it's gotta be
for this,
2 day.
And if they're willing to put up that kind of money, then you are gonna attract people as long as we use it towards, prize money.
And travel allowance stuff too.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
travel
idea, yes.
allowance, that kind of stuff, because we gotta watch that we don't get too close to Lac La Biche's date, so we got back-to-back weekends around
That's what
town.
Linda was saying, he's be on the early side of the season, instead of riding later.
So, and is that gonna have an impact on BMW, the rally guys? Do we get contribution from BMW for their event? Do the rally guys contribute much to our?
Rallycross guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the rally guys provide, actually last year they did a very good job running water trucks in to fix a lot of the
And they
ice.
pay for the
And
porta potties.
they paid for they supplied the potties and they paid us a rental.
Yeah, I
What was the number?
think it was some few $200.
$200
I
in
think
a
2 or
weekend, I think
250,
it was.
something like that.
It basically covered our,
$350, there was some, negotiations and arm wrestling and stuff, but the
Yeah.
final number was $350.
So we've
it
got
helps
to
us.
be aware of our partners in
Cover
this,
the diesel.
But if we're going for a one-off event,
then it doesn't
then
matter.
it doesn't matter.
We could also leave our track open for
Yeah,
Other
for another, yeah.
people to use it too that weekend when we would normally be.
That's a good.
I don't know, Colin, how was it, Roy, with all that, with every use, every weekend, you getting any static out there over that?
Haven't seen him since 3 o'clock today. He's fine.
Okay. I mean, the last thing we wanna do is irritate the landowner, right?
Man, is his road gone for a crap though, holy. I drove down there today and it was worse than the Edmonton springtime. Man, it was a
Like
mess.
the actual range road or the road down to the lake?
The range road,
Oh.
holy shit, is it a mess.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Somebody hauling big on it? Must be.
Have we showed our appreciation to Roy?
Yes,
He's fine.
Colin took him out to dinner, didn't
Haven't lately.
We should take him out again.
Mhm.
When you talk about the upcoming year, take them for a nice dinner, discuss us using the same place again.
No problem.
I know,
But just still,
good thing to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's $100, so.
No, I was thinking of doing it, you know, like last year I went and visited him on Thanksgiving and around that weekend, and I think we went out after that. didn't
As long as he knows the club really appreciates what he's
Oh,
doing
yeah.
for us.
okay, so that covers, basically for the upcoming season that we aren't quite at. Is there anything else that we wanna talk about while we're all
I
set?
have a dyno update if anybody.
Oh yes, I was gonna ask you.
Sure.
Wanna talk about that? or-
Yeah, talk about it.
So the people from Speed Tech came out and they brought out a car and they dyno tuned the 4-cylinder Mitsubishi something and it made 400 foot-pounds of torque and 400 horsepower. And they decided they needed to go have a meeting, decided they were going to proceed with the deal on the dyno. So I told them it was time to proceed with the deal and I needed to know something before the end of the month, otherwise we were going to market it elsewhere.
Mhm.
So they were gonna sit down and have a talk and get back to me.
This quote is valid for 30 days.
Less, actually, I think about charging more now, I think about renegotiating terms of contract, but that's just me.
So we'll know yes or no confirmed
End of the month.
end of the month?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that they had the option to change their mind. I thought it
Well,
was.
until it's all linked and the money changes hands, you always
Yeah.
have the option to change.
Yeah, obviously, but,
I mean, we had a deal in place as far as I was concerned, but now we need to, they told me it was, business was a partnership and the partners need to sit down and discuss it actually
Okay.
took possession of it. Obviously, the machine worked to their standards and was what they wanted and more than they needed, actually, so.
Okay.
And they seemed to be a little bit overwhelmed by the capacities of the machine, which was so much more than what they were used to.
Mm-hmm. So, well, that's
The machine passed the test.
Yes.
Good.
good.
We're to the shitter get off the pot.
All right, well, we look forward to positive stuff on
And if
that.
not, I'll mark it elsewhere and just turn it into some money. I think what the club really needs for a dyno is a portable dyno, a mobile dyno.
Mhm.
And I would like to switch, well, again, speaking from a personal standpoint, I'd like to switch that to that machine, turn that into a mobile dyno that we can bring to the track. So I always thought that was a better option.
Yeah. So if they don't go with the deal, and we don't find a person to buy it as it is, then that works, is it? Because you had looked at prices on.
Yeah, I did, I went online, did some more research this week, actually, after we had our meeting, and they're available in the States for about $40,000 US. So it'd be transportation costs to get them here, but the equivalent about the $60,000 Canadian cost.
So it's potential we can get rid of one and get another working one versus taking this and converting it.
Make this, if this deal moves forward, well, there's no point in talking about anything
Mhm.
else, but, and again, this year is a 1 year, the structure is a 1 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So at the 1 year anniversary, if they have the option to purchase or renegotiate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So if Speed Tech decides to take possession of the machine,
Mm-hmm.
we have a year, and then at the renewal date, we'll see what we're gonna go from there.
Okay, so I guess.
I think Speed Tech's gonna move forward, but it's a big machine and it's a lot more than these partners were all there, and it seemed to be a little overwhelmed by what they were getting into.
Okay. All right.
But they're out, they tested it, mechanically it ran fine, electronically it ran fine, and they tuned the car, and they tuned it from, they ran a 4-cylinder engine, and it started off with 10 pounds of boost, ran it up 20 pounds of boost, and the thing made 450 horsepower crank, so crazy stuff.
Well, that part's good, so.
Yeah, and the car didn't blow up, which was what I was concerned about.
And did you invoice them for using the machine?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It was like a test drive of your new Ferrari or Porsche or.
Not a problem.
First hit's free.
Was a test drive.
Yeah. All right, so, anything, do you have more on that?
Nope, that's it, that's all I got on the,
All right,
I'd like to move forward with it,
to do something. you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if the club has an asset there, it's not generating any income,
Yeah.
which, it's time for something to happen with it.
Yeah, so, I agree, if they don't take their option, that it's a good idea to aggressively
Good.
come up with a solution.
Yep.
Any other stuff for tonight?
Question on a barbecue, has everybody been publicized that there is a barbecue on Saturday?
Yeah, no, when I saw some sort of a thing posted on Facebook or something,
There may
Yeah,
be 5 or 6
schedule.
emails from Sue.
you had to report by such and such a date, when I didn't report, and said, okay, well, you're not coming apparently, so, I'm coming.
Yeah, I know.
There's barbecue.
It's getting cold.
And it was changed, like the location had been changed, or?
I don't know.
We're using the little building over in the corner, which belongs, I believe.
Argyle tent's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the barbecue's gonna be in the classroom?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
it'll be
Bob was going
outside
to
the classroom.
It's probably going to be outside the classroom.
Well, the barbecue itself, we can put
Yeah.
like,
You're not gonna put the barbecue inside the classroom, I understand that.
yeah. But the band is going to play inside the classroom because they don't want
Oh.
to stand outside and be cold.
Okay, so we're gonna rent Castro will want to payment for the rental of the hall. No?
No.
Paul Conquest has
Paul,
donated
oh.
it to us.
Really? Well, God, thank you. That's what I meant to say.
He has been properly thanked.
Okay.
So I guess the advertising piece of it is because I haven't heard about it. But I'm not a registered driver.
If you're a registered driver or you were just driver or club member should have got email, because I know they came out.
Yeah, Sue sent out emails.
Sue sent
There's a
out.
lot of emails.
And she needs
Yeah.
a head count.
You gotta
Yeah.
actually read them, that's why I found out a long time ago, you have to read them through, because normally it's Sue.
I
that you
understand,
know
but I don't
that.
have time to respond to 18
I-
emails a day.
I know, I got in
Okay,
trouble
so
for.
while,
I'm coming,
I'll confirm you for the barbecue.
thank you.
Sean,
Good.
anybody else? John?
Well, like, I was gonna say
Kevin,
too,
did you confirm
for,
if you're attending the barbecue? Did you confirm to Sue?
I haven't gone through my email either, so.
Okay.
I have a bunch of replies
It's getting to
sent.
the point where emails now are
Because
like
you're
phone messages,
registered to
right?
enter. So did you reply to Sue's email?
No, I'll be around, but I don't eat most barbecue things. So,
Are you vegetarian?
yeah.
Okay.
So
We
Linda,
should have checked on that option. Thank you.
I would suggest that Sue kick out another email if you can let her know that
Oh, please.
you gotta just flag it. Because I wonder how many other people are.
My Gmail groups all the emails together as one thing, and I don't realize there's like 12
Send
Yeah.
out
updates on
that
it.
schedule.
So I'm just.
Yeah, but I'm not a driver, so I don't get the driver email. My driver does, and he doesn't read his email.
I'm not a driver and I get
I
emails,
got
but
the
I don't
email.
read them.
We actually like just to talk about social media real quick, like put the ad like an actual picture ad up at 4:30 today, and just with our set a budget for marketing it, but like our social media now, because of like people personally linking their friends, like bringing the stuff to it, we already had like 1,600 people look at it
Yay.
in like 2 hours, and
How many of them signed up for a race?
1308.
Well, probably
It's
none.
not. They're not going to sign up for a race 3 days before if they didn't already. I have it planned, but
Shitty advertising anyway.
I want 7 more entries between now and Saturday,
Yeah.
But-
please.
we have, like I said, in terms of marketing, we didn't have to pay for much of that. It's just
Yeah.
it's part of the Facebook the way
Mhm.
it's set up. So
Did you respond to Sue?
No.
Colin? Graham, you're on the worker list.
Mhm.
Are you gonna be around this weekend? Dave?
Would
Are you a steward?
No, I'm gonna be there as official rep of ASN Canada FIA Inc.
Okay. And did you send any acknowledgement to Sue?
I just did.
Just now? Okay, good.
Just now.
Okay.
So
Have you,
is there a reason we have an ASN?
you're not
rep
staying for the,
at this
where are you
event?
going after?
ASN
Are you going
is
anywhere
to know
near
what's
St.
going
Albert?
on.
Is
Sort
there
of.
a
Oh,
concern?
good. My child needs to go from the track to St. Albert.
I could probably do that.
Oh, thank you, I love you. Sorry,
Because I have to go back
to your house.
well, to that area, my house and then out again.
Yes.
Linda, will you feed the band?
Yeah, sure. How many of them? 5?
And their sound guy, 6.
6.
6, so.
Can they make it not too loud? Because after racing all day, I don't like too much noise.
Yeah, we're adapting for the building.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
we're trying to,
Yeah.
Almost could be acoustic.
yeah.
That's small.
Well, the
space.
doors will be open.
Now you're thinking.
The
Do you
windows
have
too.
all, do they have all the equipment they need? We can use the generator that goes with the
All they
building.
need is power.
That's it?
How much power?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
the generator
We'll
can
just
run
limit
the
it to
AC.
3,000
You
watts.
saw that, Jenny?
If the generator can run the AC, it'll run.
Yes.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
very good.
Okay,
And we
good.
won't need the AC probably.
You think?
Yeah. We got, I was wondering, we're gonna have to exercise, we have actually a rain clause in our contract with Castro.
It's not going to rain on Saturday.
Well, we actually have a snow clause too.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a freeze clause?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Well, it's just, these are things that have, okay.
But there's no Santa Claus.
There's some pretty good.
I'll stop talking then. I'm just thinking worst case scenario.
I
It's
did,
not supposed to shine,
yes. That's
yes.
cool.
All right, there's nothing else, that's it? You turn it off?
Sure, we're going offline.
Yeah, there is a rain.